This is Chris, the Idaho Painter, here on Paint Life TV. Today, we've got a really cool product we're going to be talking about called tru-swipe. I got Journeyman John with me, and this is a cool product because we discovered something with this product that it does, and it eliminates runs simply, easily, without Bondo and without sandpaper. And this product was originally created to test for oil-based paint, wasn't it, John?
It was. Yep, you take a little, they've got little wipes or swabs, you can wipe it on oil-based paint. If the paint comes off, that's how you know it's latex. If it doesn't, it's going to be oil, and then you know that you need to take the precautions in order to coat over top of that oil.
So it's a tiny little swab right here, and you would just rub this little, oh, this is the wipe, and then this one is a swab. So we got swabs and wipes, and we were introduced to this product here just this year at the PDCA show in Texas. So the inventor of this walked up, introduced himself to us, and talked about this product. Here's the swab right here, kind of like a very large Q-tip, and just talked to us about it. And then I got a hold of some of the samples, and then John, you discovered this amazing thing that it does, eliminating runs.
It does.
So how does it go about doing that?
Well, it's a mixture of alcohol and some other things, and I think it's whatever the blend is helps it so that you can use it to basically melt down latex paint runs or acrylic-based paint runs. But it's the way it smooths everything out. It's not like just using normal alcohol. The other nice part is the swabs as an applicator actually work really well. So typically we've got a door here that I think the hardest part of doing this project was trying to figure out how to put spits and runs on this door so that we could fix them. But typically a door like this, if you have spits or runs, you've got to wet sand it, Bondo it, and then respray it, and it's kind of a timely process, right?
Yes.
With something like this, way faster.
Way faster. And I do have to say, trying to create spits and runs for this project was extremely difficult because I've spent the last 17 years trying not to create spits and runs. And so I created this big old mess on this door, and it's not the greatest spits and the runs in the world, but I think it's gonna work. I do think it's gonna work.
It doesn't look good, and we're gonna make it look better.
Yeah, so it's incredible, these swabs, what they do. And we've kind of been talking about them on our social media a little bit because we absolutely love these things. We actually started selling them on our store because we believe in them so much. And then there's a bunch of people that have been saying, well, rubbing alcohol is just the same. But there's more than just rubbing alcohol in these tru-swipes. And we talked to the guy that developed it, created it, and we learned some of the other stuff that's in there that causes it to be able to rub out these runs a lot better than just rubbing alcohol. And then these Q-tips, these swabs are amazing. They're really fat and they're really smooth compared to just a standard Q-tip that you would use to clean your ear.
Yeah.
So, John, we do have some runs all over this door and some spits. So, we're going to try to show you. I'm going to give you a close-up view with my phone of John eliminating some spits and runs on here and what it does. So we got a few packets. They come in large boxes, so you can buy them by the box. You can buy them, I think, by the pack. There's 3 in a pack, right?
There are 3 swabs in a pack, and they cost between $2.50 and $3 for a pack of the 3 swabs. But to me, the amount of time you save to fix a door like this, completely worth it.
It's absolutely completely worth it, like John says, and you can easily store, several of these packs in your vehicles. We now just store them in our vans, and literally for the amount, if it's just a couple, $2, $3 to eliminate a run for $2, $3, not have to wet sand, not have to Bondo, it's well worth the time and effort. It does come in these boxes too, I think. You can buy them by the boxes on the
yes, you can buy the swabs in boxes, you can buy the wipes in boxes, and then obviously there's the original purpose for, like checking for oil-based paint, right, which can save you a huge headache if you run into that.
And that's what's incredible is these things were introduced, or they were created for testing for oil-based paint. What happens if you don't test for oil-based paint? You paint water-based paint over the top of it without properly prepping it.
It's just all gonna peel and scratch right off. Yeah. It's a huge mess, and it really doesn't matter what you put over the top of it, you're always going to have a compromised substrate.
Don't make that mistake. For a simple little wipe like this, you'll know exactly what you're dealing with and know how to prep it. So, John, we got a bunch of spits. You might not be able to see them in the camera, but I'm gonna give you a close-up view with my 4K iPhone.
And the beauty of this was only sprayed probably an hour, maybe just under an hour ago.
Yeah.
And so we haven't waited a long time. It's just just tacked up, so it's just dry to the touch.
I know, so people have asked like a week later, so if you got the run, can you go into some house a week later or a year later and get rid of a run?
To me, this is the most effective if you can do it right after it's tacked up, or within an hour or a couple hours after it's tacked up, maybe even a day or two after. After that process, after that length of time, there's been enough of the curing process that's happened where it's going to be less effective, and you're going to have to bust out that wet sandpaper. But the goal of this is that you're able to fix these things immediately and not have to wait that long.
Yep. So let's go ahead. We got a bunch of spits up here, some larger spits right here. We got a big fat run right here. We messed around with it right there. You can see on some overspray right here how it'll wipe out some overspray. So I'm gonna just video John with the video camera right here. And we got a video camera going right there on John.
We'll start with this guy right up there. Right?
Here we go.
So just going to take that swab and work it around a little bit and get that solution on there. And it's going to start melting down that acrylic. We just we can work it around a little bit, and we can see the white color kind of starting to come through on some of those. So work around. Just all over those ridges there. And the beauty of this is you don't have those raised profiles like you're going to have if you were wet sanding, and it's not curling up like it would if it were wet sanding. That right there is getting pretty darn smooth. We can use another swab just to clean it up. That right there, if that were the only spit right there, I would be happy coating over the top of that, and it's going to look pretty darn good.
So that's amazing. So that was a really large spit right there. I created by taking the actual tip out of a Graco handheld, sprayed it. It throws some massive spits on there. Typically, we're not going to be dealing with spits that big on a door. You're not going to have to do so much rubbing and wiping. But right there, I mean, I can't even feel any ridges on that at all.
Yeah.
So do you think if you sprayed that right there, you're probably not going to see that?
No, not at all. In fact, last week we had a door. We were messing around with some new tips from a tip manufacturer, and one of them just left this big old spit right in the middle of this smooth panel door. So it stopped, dried. We grabbed a tru-swipe, pulled it off, masked off just that panel, and sprayed it with a handheld sprayer. And I think it took longer to set up and clean up that handheld sprayer than it did to actually melt down that one run and make the thing look like it had never happened. So now we're going to take these wipes, and they come in little, like, I don't know, wet wipe things, and where we've got some of these imperfections here, you can even take that wipe and work it almost like it was sandpaper to help smooth out some of those imperfections. And again, the beauty of this is that this was only sprayed an hour or less ago, and we've completely smoothed out some of those imperfections. It's ready to respray, and it's just, the amount of time it saves is absolutely amazing.
I'm going to show you right here the edge of the overspray. We'll have John just take one of the wipes, and you'll see how fast it'll cut through just the overspray itself. So you can see how fast that wipe just cuts right through that. So now we got these, John, there's some of these spits are really large, and we do have this scraper. We've talked about this Linbite scraper, and it's a carbide scraper, extremely sharp. And we've used this in combination with the tru-swipes to get rid of runs. And say a drip or a run like that that's extremely large, won't we just scrape that down with this and then use the tru-swipe?
We can, and it's amazing, because when I first saw these things, I didn't think it would actually work, but on fine trim, interior trim, you'll just pull on the scraper, and it'll just start shaving the tops of those bumps and runs down.
So we got this is a really fresh door. It's only been done about an hour ago. You'd probably, if you're using the scraper, you'd probably want to wait a little bit longer so it gets a little bit harder, but we're going to test it out right here live on camera and see if it'll work on this these large runs right here. So let's check that out, John.
Got this guy right here. See, it's going to pull that guy up, and now we'll take a swab and we'll melt it down.
So basically you kind of just scraped off the bulk of it so you don't have to do as much rubbing with the swab.
And it's not ideal. You'll still have to, you got to work it around to start feathering that down so that it's smooth, because you've kind of created a crater because of how deep it is. To me, if this door, if it was outside, had hardened up maybe another 2-3 hours, that scraper probably would have shaved it a little bit more than pulling it off, but sometimes you're on a time limit and that's not going to be the case. So clean it up here, and
looks pretty
actually
dang.
look pretty good right there when it's all done. Yeah, that's pretty good right there.
So that's feeling pretty good. I mean, you can barely feel anything. I think when you spray that door, you're not even gonna see that run. And that was a pretty big run. I think this Lin-Bite scraper, where I've noticed where it's really, really effective is on interior trim paint, where interior trim paint is a little bit harder. After a few hours, once it's dried, it's just a little bit harder and is not as rubbery as an exterior coating.
Yeah.
This was an exterior coating that we sprayed on there, and I just sprayed a dark color, so it's a really deep, ultra deep base, so it's kind of really soft and everything. But it wasn't the ideal scenario, but we wanted it to be dark so you can see the contrast, and hopefully you can see how it goes about eliminate the runs.
But the amount of time we just saved there from not having to stop, wait long enough that we can wet sand it, Bondo it, that's got to dry, you sand the Bondo, you might have to do another layer of Bondo, and then you got to wait for that to dry and sand that, and then prime, and then recoat it. I mean, all of those steps. Or you can bust out one of these, you can go through, you can melt it down, and you're just ready and set to respray. The reason we carry it in the store is because we carry those kind of tools that we feel like are game changers. And to me, this is a game changer for fixing these drips and runs.
Absolutely. And I think one of the key elements to these things too is the wet sanding process. Somebody that's new at it, the learning curve, they're gonna take a lot longer to be able to do it properly, do it effectively, and come out with good results. Absolutely. Where these tru-swipes, man, you can teach a guy how to do it right here within a few minutes, and they should be able to eliminate runs fast and easy and have great results. There you have it. It's the product tru-swipe. We love it. We believe in it. You can purchase it on our store, theidahopainter.com, where we sell tools and accessories that we think are game changers and that we love. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, please consider giving us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. And I don't know, how are we going to close this one out, John?
Just a good old out.
Out.